A documentary that was selected as an audience top 10 film at the Hot Docs Festival this past April will be premiering here in Manitoba this weekend. The documentary is titled Parade: Queer Acts of Love and Resistance. Joining us now is Noam Gonick, the director of the film Parade: Queer Acts of Love and Resistance. Good morning, Noam.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us.
It's great to be here.
This is so exciting. You're getting lots of love for this documentary. Tell us a little bit about what it took to put this together and what inspired you.
Well, yeah, a lot of love. And we were talking during the break, I'm not used to this much love on a film. Generally, we make things that have, you know, a little bit of criticism, a little bit of love, but this one has been quite universal. I think what led to all that is we're sort of in a very edgy time right now. So this is a film about the history of the queer rights movement in Canada. And when we started making it a few years ago, it seemed like, oh, this isn't going to be very controversial. All these rights have been won and it's sort of done and dusted. But then as we started to work on the film, globally, the whole situation changed and politics became much more extreme, and rights that we thought, you know, would never be questioned. I'm not just talking about gay rights, but talking about, say, for instance, abortion, a woman's right to choose in the States. So many of these rights have been challenged and taken away. And so now we're looking at trans rights being a real big issue. And, you know, always looking down to the South and seeing what's happening there. But the way it also influences life in Canada too. So anyways, it's now that it's come out, it just seems much more relevant and timely.
Yeah, good timing. Canada's history, though, is not all rainbows and sunshine. It was pretty dark when it came to gay rights in this country. You explore that in this film.
Yeah, I mean, just as recently as the 1960s, you could get 8 years in prison or a mental institution for being gay, and that's around the time that the film picks up. And then it looks through various chapters at how these significant milestones occurred, how activists and community leaders got together to fight and challenge the state and challenge laws and authorities. And ultimately, what the film ended up becoming is kind of like a guidebook or a manual for the current generation, for people who are living here and now. If they wanted to fight for their rights again, if they had to fight because their rights were being taken away or challenged, they can look back at Parade, this documentary, and use it as a resource to figure out, like, you know, back in the 70s, how did all these, you know, riff-raff, pot-stirring activists get together and get into the streets and march and take back their rights.
Winnipeg is largely part of the storytelling here. Tell us a little bit about the Winnipeg connections in your documentary.
Well, for sure. I mean, I am a Winnipeg filmmaker, the film actually ends in Winnipeg at the Million March for Children, which happened a few years ago. I'm sure some of our viewers were there, and it was a sort of very divided rally, because on one side you had people who were protecting trans rights, and on the other side you had people who wanted to protect their children. And so it was a very almost violent confrontation on the legislative grounds, and that's sort of where we leave the story, sort of, you know, on this precipice of like what's going to happen next. So Winnipeg did the last scene, but also a very important part of the film for me is the story of Two-Spirit, which happened here in Manitoba. Characters like Myra Laramie, Albert McLeod, Connie Morasti, these are Indigenous queer activists who had a gathering in 1990 in Beausejour where the name Two-Spirit was adopted, and that really went international. Two-Spirit is a term for gay or lesbian, queer, Indigenous people, and it's used internationally, and it's a Manitoba contribution to global language, which I think is something we can be proud of.
Yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely. Okay, so the premiere is happening on Saturday at the Canadian Museum for Human Rights, and there's it starts at 5. The viewing's at 6:30, and there's a party after. Yeah, and there's going to be an exhibit that's open and free to the public. People can come ahead of time and check out Love in a Dangerous Time, which has a beautiful ballet film that we worked on as well. And then, yeah, afterwards it's going to be DJ Scott Fitzpatrick. Oh, all right. Dance party indeed. Well, thank you, Noam, for sharing this with us, and congratulations.
Thank you.